You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
GOP Senate surrogate quits fast after reporters ask about his jail time over a 15-year-old, based on an article by Benito L. T. The problem was not the resignation. A volunteer was not the power. NBC News reported that a county chair in John Husted's Ohio campaign resigned after reporters surfaced his guilty plea tied to a 15-year-old. That is the bare fact pattern. The political fact is uglier. The campaign gave him a role, a microphone, and access until outside reporting made that arrangement impossible to defend. The campaign did not discover a hidden problem on its own. It reacted after the press asked questions that managers' accountability did not come from internal judgment. It came from exposure, who enabled him. Andrew Havas was not some random bystander. He served as a Franklin County campaign chair since December, introduced Husted at a Christmas party, and helped stage the candidate's public image. That is institutional trust, however badly earned. Husted's operation had every incentive to know who it was elevating. Whether it failed to vet Havas or simply looked past what it found, the result is the same. A campaign treated a man with a recorded sexual misconduct case involving a minor as useful until the cost became visible. The spin is the point. The campaign statement leans hard on non-disclosure. He did not disclose his history. That framing shifts attention from the people with actual power to the volunteer who was handed power by them. It turns the decision by a campaign into a clerical mistake by one man. That is misdirection. A campaign does not need perfect self-reporting to avoid putting a convicted offender in a visible role. It needs standards, and apparently it did not think the standard mattered until NBC did the work for them. Deliberate harm, repackaged as oversight. The reporting is also a reminder of how political organizations sanitize risk. The language of accepted his resignation makes the campaign sound orderly and responsible. In reality, it was forced into cleanup mode after a public relations failure. This is how institutions protect themselves, by narrowing the story to disclosure, procedure, and timing. The underlying issue is more basic. A campaign built around discipline and message control still found room for a man with a sexual misconduct plea involving a minor. That is not confusion. That is judgment. The larger pattern, this story is not mainly about one volunteer. It is about a political culture that will tolerate almost anything so long as it is hidden behind convenience, loyalty, or proximity to power. The exposure is the scandal because the system assumed the harm would stay buried. The useful lesson is not that one resignation solved anything. It is that the press forced a campaign to account for an association it had every reason to manage quietly. When political actors are left to police themselves, they often protect the campaign first and the public last. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Roar Story for today's article, with the automated voice of Norman. Thanks for listening.